Do you want to know how as Portugal, you can grab most of the African coastline and puppet all of South America, including Brazil, in just 20 years? Well, you came to the right place, because I'm gonna bring colonialism back as Portugal. In 1836, Portugal is way past its heyday, having lost Brazil and being reduced when it comes to colonies to just a few areas by the coastline of Africa, as well as a couple of bleeps in India, namely Nova Goa, Portuguese Gujarat, and last but not least, of course, we also have the Sunda Islands, which gave way to the nation of East Timor in our time, I guess. Now, in the more recent patch, Paradox actually gave a bit of a buff to the Portuguese. They gave them level 2 colonial growth generation for colonial affairs, which does make quite a bit of a difference since it allows us to compete with the other major colonial powers. That being said, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get another interest in Zanj and another one in Arabia, as well as we're going to start colonizing Kenya. Getting this area colonized means we're going to be competing with the British in Kenya, but Kenya is the first step towards getting access into Central Africa, which is rich in resources such as rubber that in the late game are literally a bottleneck. Whoever doesn't have rubber will perish at the feet of the rubber enjoyers. We will obviously be colonizing everything else that we can colonize here for two reasons. First off, getting these little footholds all over Africa allows us to attack the natives that actually exist next to these footholds, and second off, once the colonial process in the early game is done, we might get some footholds that we can trade with our current and bestest of friends, the Great British. We start with a defensive pact and a trade agreement with them, so they're going to be our bestest of friends in the early campaign, both economically and militarily. Now, technology wise, we are super behind, so we're going to do stock exchange, banking, lates, and atmospheric engines in that order. Our laws are surprisingly good though, which is kind of like the only thing that we have going for us, I guess. We start with interventionism, tenant farmers, not even serfdom, slavery is banned, we got freedom of conscience as well, a professional army, so we are basically halfway there. I'm gonna go for cultural exclusion from the very first day because we have a little bit of support for that. It's likely we're not gonna pass this, but at least we have to try. If we fail, we'll try racial segregation. The reason for that is because we only have 7 million population and we need to get more people to migrate to our lands. Right now we have migration control, so only very much so accepted pops will be migrating towards our nation. In order to get more accepted pops, we need to move away from national supremacy. We need to get either racial segregation or cultural exclusion, and freedom of conscience, which we have already, also gives more acceptance for pops as long as they are Catholic or one of the other Christian denominations. But what we really want to do is go for total separation, which means all pops, regardless of religion, will be able to migrate to our lands faster and be more accepted as consequence. Our budget is absolutely atrocious. We're going to add a consumption tax for services, and we're going to do road maintenance, promote social mobility, and greener grass campaign in the province of Alentejo, because this is where we have the majority of our industry. We have sulfur mines, iron, coal mines here. Unfortunately, we only have 300,000 population, so we need to attract more people in this particular area. The social mobility is also to give more qualifications for people that would like to get jobs here, alongside, of course, the education access. Seeing as we start with one glassworks, what we're going to do is we're going to be changing the urban center to Market Square, which utilizes glass, so we give a bit of a purpose to that particular building. Similarly, we're going to be switching to fishing trawlers and cargo port, so we make use of the starting shipyards that are producing clippers. And last but not least, we're also going to be changing to secular administration, our government buildings. We have some massive shortages from day one, including a huge shortage of grain, which leads to starvation with this patch. Starvation is your biggest enemy, and considering we have very few pop, we do not want to see them all die. So we're going to be building some farms. We're going to also be importing some grain from Qing, from the British, and wherever else we can. Before we do that though, we're going to switch to encourage export, so we trigger the corn laws. The other massive shortages we have, we can cover from the British as well. In fact, we're going to be trading everything that is giving us a positive with the British, since the trade routes with Britain do not cost any bureaucracy because of our mutual trade agreement. We actually have a few trade routes on day one which we have to cancel because they're not actually being productive. Now, one of our big secrets as Portugal is that we have a huge amount of dye plantations in our African colonies, and we're going to use these dye plantations to make every European nation rely on us, because remember, dyes are going to be required for the dye workshop whenever nations research lates, and some nations start with that research from day one. And dyes are primarily accessed from Africa, Asia, and South America America, you cannot really get many provinces in Europe that allow dye plantations. So this is our in to make the Europeans rely on us and help our economy grow. The initial construction queue is going to be a little bit like this. We're going to do one cotton plantation, one logging camp in Alentejo, and then we're going to try and rush for one tooling workshop in Alentejo as well, so we can start switching over to more industrial production methods. Seeing as we're basically dying from just a couple of freaking construction, literally 2 construction, and we're losing so much right now, it's ridiculous. We're pretty much forced to go to very low government wages. In fact, the government wages is one of the major issues for us because we have a few more government administrations than we really need right now. We could technically fix that by actually taxing people, so we could incorporate the state of Lorenzo Marquez. Also gonna do high taxation just because I'm desperate. I might even need to go to very high taxation temporarily, I guess. This is brutal, man. Now let's also send over our units to the African parts because we're gonna be doing a little bit of remodeling, let's say. All right, our troops have arrived so we can attack Gaza. This is an absolute no-brainer, guys. They have no units. It's literally just free real estate in day one. It's like they're waiting for us to attack them. Plus, it is the Lorenzo Marquez state, so we would have the entirety of the state after we take this little native out. We also have famine in 3 states: South Cameroon, Mauritania, Senegal. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about those areas for the time being. Go should be literally the fastest war imaginable right now. There you go. That is beautiful. Now, with all of Lorenzo Marquez under our control, we increased a little bit of our GDP and a lot our population, actually 1 million almost. Our next target, of course, is going to be the Yemeni area, since Yemen again is free real estate. Nobody actually defends Yemen at the start of the campaign. Now that means we have another declared interest we can use, and we're going to use it in South America, another area that early on great powers don't care about. So it's really just free real estate with added bonuses of sulfur, coal, iron, lead. Remember, we don't have any lead right now in our own European holdings, so getting lead from South America, Africa, and other parts of the world is literally vital for our survival. Seeing as I'm not able to get my guns as fast as I was expecting to, I'm going to queue up an arms industry after the logging camp, and I'm going to get a secondary construction sector built in Alentejo for that matter. Now, despite being able to get the interest in La Plata, we have to remember that we cannot puppet Argentina since they are the same rank as us. We're both minor powers, and seeing as I already have my troops in Yemen, I'm going to just continue to attack Yemeni nations until the great powers start guaranteeing them, because it is likely that some of these will start getting guaranteed by Russia, Ottomans, even Britain, if I continue to expand in this area. The main point is that we want to become a major power in order to be able to puppet nations in South America. If we can do that early, that would be awesome, but honestly, it's not as easy to do as the Portuguese, unfortunately. There's one way we could do, and that is to just join the British in their war against the Qing, or if they don't allow us, which apparently they don't want us in the war against Qing right now, we could also just start our own war against Qing later and ask the British to join us against them. Okay, it looks like we actually might be able to get most of Yemen from the start of the campaign. This might be a W campaign right here, boys. I ignore the fact that we're dying economically, of course. That's aside from the point, clearly. Now, we are going to stop with the Yemeni conquest. We don't need the Cassimids for now, because that would really be an issue for us, actually. We're going to do instead Congo, since nobody really gives a schnitzel about the Congolese area for now. So let's go ahead and mobilize our units and take over the only native on the west side of the Central African part of Africa, I guess. Oh, we got issues, boys. What is this? 7 trade routes is giving us minus 140. Ooh, okay. Also, the fact that we have a lot more pops now is an issue too. So maybe I'm gonna not incorporate Lorenzo Marquez. Yeah, there you go. That's 100 we got back. We can incorporate Lorenzo Marquez later down the line, and we can just cancel a couple of the trade routes as well. Of course, with the nations that we do not have any trade agreements with. This was because we annexed Lahej and we inherited their trade route. Every time you annex in Victoria 3 a nation, you automatically inherit their trade routes. Look at that. Now we're fine. We're back to minus 2,000 from minus 7,000. And we also got a modern conservative. Okay, that means we have the market liberal agitator. Now, this man does not have the ability to become the leadership of our political party. Why is that? Well, because in this particular patch, the political movement that he supports, in our case, the liberal movement, must be pressuring the landowners. They're not pressuring any groups right now. So in order to get them in charge of the country, or better yet, in the government, we need to make sure that the liberal movement gets some support. So we're going to be bolstering them them. Unfortunately, it does mean that we have to cancel a couple of our edicts, but trust me, it's gonna be worth it. Let's go with the bolstering here. And look, we even went to ascend with cultural exclusion. I really hope I didn't jinx it by saying that though. We're not done with the expansion in South Africa. Zulu is the next target because Zulu is not guaranteed by the British. Transvaal and Orange both are guaranteed at the start of the campaign by the British, but we need to wait until they stop that guarantee so we can attack them for those juicy gold mines in both of these provinces. Not gonna lie, as the Portuguese, you have two options. Either you rely on the gold mines from here and from South America, or you attack Qing and you get those juicy, overpowered provinces from Qing. It's one or the other, really. Oh my god, I really did jinx it, didn't I? Dude, no, I don't want this. Oh, this is so bad. Please, please don't fall now. Also realized I forgot to start improving relations with some nations around, like the French and the Spanish even. I can improve relations. We're gonna need more influence. In order to get that, we just get some rivals. Usually, Italy is the easiest rivals we can get because they're about the same size as us. Apparently, the game thinks Luca is a valid rival for us. Okay, buddy, sure. That's a bit insulting, game. We're basically trying to be as friendly as we possibly can be here. Hey, we got stock exchange. That's awesome. Zulu, 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 chameleon. I'm taking your lands. You ain't got nothing you can do about it. Doo-doo-doo. You guys like my song? I love the fact... Oh, snap. We got cultural exclusion, baby. Having cultural exclusion means that we now have a little bit of acceptance for all of these African pops. So whenever we do get total separation, our African pops will become second-class citizens. Right now, it's going to take a few years, especially for the conquered lands, before they advance in tier, because remember, society moves slowly after an area is conquered. It takes a while for the new pops to be integrated into our nation. That's basically fancy words for me saying that they get -20 approval for a few years, and that slowly decays until that minus approval goes away. Actually, gonna go for agrarianism. We have so much support for this. It's kind of a no-brainer, really. And I'm gonna be queuing up some more logging camps. We need a buttload of wood, and that's an actual measurement unit, Tris. All right, so we finished getting our arms industries established. That means we're getting right now roughly 30 guns. We're not getting enough because we have a bit of a shortage of iron right now, but eventually we'll be getting 30 muskets, which is enough to distribute to all of our current units. All right, boys, we finally managed to get lathes, so we got the dye workshops, meaning we put those dye plantations we have to good use now. Also going to be deleting some of my units, namely I'm going to delete the cavalry unit because they are pretty expensive and honestly they're not really worth it. I like to keep it around 20-25 units maximum as the Portuguese. It's more than enough for me right now. Basically have a 7 units army which we'll be using to do naval invasions, and the other main army which we'll be using to do regular frontline combat, right? We also started lowering our taxation because our economy is doing slightly better now, and lowering taxation is obviously a good idea since it allows for people to have more money to use and it just keeps the economy going. Next up, I'm going to be attacking Majertine, and I'll try and get as much as possible out of the Somalian coastline. It is, of course, our plan to get all of the Eastern African coastline. If we manage to get all of the Eastern African coastline and then all of the Western African coastline, or as much as possible of it, at least around the central bit, then it's guaranteed that we're going to be the only ones that will be able to colonize the inner part of Africa, which is where all that rubbery juice is. And honestly, guys, it's way easier to get the coastline of Africa earlier in the campaign rather than later. I mean, look at this. Majertine was basically a cakewalk right now. And it's going to be exactly the same thing with Gelendi. Did I say that right? It's Gelendi? Geledi. I just realized, technically, the Portuguese were the closest friends to the Ethiopians. So considering that I don't actually intend on taking Ethiopian lands, we're just going to take the coastline here, we can still be best friends with them and maybe even help them unify into Ethiopia and then puppet them and use them as a vassal. But that's aside from the point here. The point is that we're friendly, okay? This is a friendly face in Africa. Come on. Oh, we got a British Union opportunity. Get foreign investment rights. Ooh, that's good. Getting foreign investment rights with these guys means a lot of money because it's going to allow them to build stuff in our country and even our private sector to build in their country. I think with Isaac, we now have the entirety of the Somalian state, 800,000 pops and 67 market acts. That is not great. All right, we're going to need to improve that. We don't have railways right now, obviously, but we could potentially build another port in there. It also would help us out with getting more market competitiveness. Well, actually, we are maxed out with that now, so we don't really need a port there. We would need a port in all of these isolated areas, like in Kenya, for example. The biggest war in in the early phase of the campaign for Portugal is likely going to be the Omani War. The reason we need to do this war is because we got to get a hold of the Zanzibar province, which we set up as our primary war goal. Secondary war goal is to make... No! Come on! Oh, come on! Yeah, that sucks. I was gonna make Oman a protectorate. Now I got a truce with them. The reason I wanted to make them a protectorate is because usually the British also attack Oman early in the campaign because they have already a protectorate in the Trucial states, and I would like to get my hands on Oman state itself since it is going to spawn a lot of oil later in the campaign, and also just I like to have pretty long borders in Arabia basically. But at least we managed to get the Zanzibar, I guess. I know what you're thinking, why didn't you just make protectorate? That way they couldn't have backed down, or why didn't you make it a primary goal? I didn't expect them to back up, and second off, if you make them a protectorate, they will via an event lose control of Zanzibar later down the line, and that's literally the main juicy part about Oman, right? That being said though, look at this, look at the coastline. It's literally all ours now, boys. That is amazing. So go ahead and go back to medium taxation, see if that holds. So by getting very high military wages for our armies and going back to medium wages for the government wages, we actually became a major power. The benefit of that is that we get extra declared interest, a lowered interest rate by 25%, and we even get migration attraction. But the even bigger benefit is that we can start protectorizing everybody in South America now. And I know what you're saying, Ludi, protectorizing not a real word. Shut up, you nerd. How do you know? Do you know all the words in the world? Name them. Name every single word right now. It's official, boys. We've become an agrarian society, just like modern Portugal is. And also because we are now a major power, which means that we do get minus a 25% loan interest rate and a few other bonuses alongside that. It also means that we can make the Argentinians a puppet since they are a minor power, which is below our rank now. That being said, Argentina is allied to Chile, so if I was to attack him right now, I would probably not be able to land my invasion, which is why I'm attacking Uruguay, conquer Uruguay, and then use the nation of Uruguay's former lands as my staging ground from doing a proper land invasion into Argentina and Chile. That is what you call a big brain, boys. Plan 5 steps ahead, because if you don't, when you're playing as Portugal, it might be a little bit more challenging. We really need to get a hold of South America, and doing it in the first 5 to 10 years is the easiest because the major powers do not get involved. If you wait for too long, then Brazil is going to get stronger and get involved. The British will, the French will, the Americans will as well. So you really need to rush for this, unfortunately. The only way. I'm also going to attempt to go for National Guard, which means we're going to be able to get some more battalions, which will help since we don't really have much of an army right now, and we will have to rely on conscripts for the early phase of the campaign. I've also been updating my production methods. We are now significantly more in need of tooling workshops since we are using the sawmills production method for the logging camps. I'm also getting a bit of a use out of my iron mines by switching one of my construction sectors to the iron frame building. I cannot really afford switching all three, then we would completely tank our economy, unfortunately. But for now, this is going to have to do. We're also going to build a university just so we get more qualifications in Alentejo, and then we'll follow it up with another one later down the line, I guess, in Extremadura, and one in Beira. Screw it. You know what? I'm going to do 3 of them in all 3 of my main states. It is pretty much a necessity right now. We have to win this for freedom, for justice, for liberty, for... What the hell is going on? How did we go from winning that to losing hard? Oh god, this is horrible. This is horrible. We failed the invasion. We got our asses handed to us by freaking Uruguay out of all nations. But you know what? Doesn't matter because we do have more manpower than them. So we'll just drain them out and then eventually still win. We're gonna get another army of 7 units. There you go. Attack right away so they don't have time to recover from the losses to their manpower. Also, it seems like we now have the ability to make our market liberal the leader of the landowners, which in turn means that he is going to be endorsing laissez-faire, as well as he's not going to be opposing homesteading, so it's going to be a lot easier to pass homesteading now. The Spaniards want a trade agreement. That actually is pretty great. Yeah, I'll take that. There you go. We're making massive leeway now in our invasion of Uruguay, up to 50% already. It's Joe for Uruguay. I have the high ground. There we go. We got Uruguay. That is amazing. Now this is going to be our staging ground for the invasion of Argentina and Chile. So let's merge all of our armies into one major army and just bring them all over here, Brazilian HQ, so we can get ready for the invasion. We got 31 units. That's really not too bad. Make sure we upgrade all of them at least to line infantry though. There you go. As expected, the Chileans join on the side of the Argentinians, so we're going to make both of them a protectorate, and we're only up to 25 infamy, which is just amazing because early on, less population means less infamy for these nations, but because they're in the new world, they're going to get super high amounts of immigrants eventually, and the population is going to grow, so So if you try to puppet them later, it's going to be way more. And as I was saying, the British have declared neutrality. Early on, nobody gives a shit about South America. Not even the South Americans, apparently. And the Spaniards want to get a formal alliance with us. Oh, sure. Might as well. Why not? We can be friendly towards the Spaniards. We don't really need anything from them. All right, now it's time to crush the enemy units. We got better units, and more importantly, we got way more units and a lot more manpower than they have. So go, my pretties, go crush these scumbags. We're gonna need to actually divide our army in three because apparently we now have three different front lines, and if we don't cover these front lines to the side, we will lose the war. There you go. This is the biggest issue. If you do naval invasions in Argentina, you also get three separate front lines, and because of that, you will not be able to use that one invading force to cover all three sides, and you get pushed back instantly. You know, here's a really wild idea, Bryce. What if, just what if, there was a game like Vicky 3 that had stockpile, and then whenever you don't have something, you just rely on your stockpile to make up for the loss. Whoa! Such a rad concept that Vicky 2 had. Okay, now this is good and bad. It's good because we got Argentina. It's bad because we were not able to get a bit of a foothold in Chile. Alright, so if we are to be invading Chile, we need more ships. I queued up, out-clicked 3 naval bases, and we're gonna do a naval invasion with 10 units. If we do it with just 7 right now, which we're attempting, but I'm almost 90% sure that we're gonna fail this naval invasion. Okay, I might have been a little bit wrong. Nope, no I wasn't. Look at that. They just pushed us back instantly. What is that, man? What is that? Come on. Alright, now with the extra frigates, let's do it again. Invasion Complicatio Part 2. Part of me is just saying if this fails, might as well just freaking cancel and attack again whenever we make the Argentinians a puppet, because then we have a land border with them, and we can use that time to focus on other parts of the world as well. So this is pretty embarrassing, but I'm getting my ass handed to me even with the extra frigates. It's just the Chileans are too strong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for a white piece. We're gonna come back, Chile. Don't worry, we are gonna be coming back for you. And it looks like we can also, by using obligations and because of the lobby bonus, get an alliance with the Russians, a defensive alliance, but still an alliance. We also managed to get back to medium taxation with our national revenue. Hopefully that's gonna fix our economy a little bit faster. Can we take a second to appreciate how overpowered foreign investment is in this game? Check it out. We got 468 manor house. You know where these manor houses have their properties? Mostly in the UK. We have 55 textile mills that our people somehow managed to own in the UK. I don't even know how. Look at that. These are owned by private people in our country, outside of our country. They're all over India, all over the UK. It is just insane, my dude. How do they even manage to do that? How do they manage to buy all that off? I don't know. I'm not gonna complain. It is basically free money after all, right? Meanwhile, our country only has 3 textile mills, and we're struggling to get our first furniture manufacturing. What the hell is this, man? Oh, but don't worry, guys. The world is back on track because the British canceled their guarantee on Orange, and I'm fairly certain they're gonna cancel it on Transvaal at some point in the nearby future. So we're gonna get our literal free money printers from these 2 provinces now, and that is gonna fuel the rest of our expansion in Africa. There we go. Vriestad, do we have any gold mines already, or do we need to wait? We do. We got 5 gold mines. Okay, we're gonna prioritize that, obviously. Damn, this state is so good. We even have a tooling workshop, a textile mills. This is just amazing. And we also managed to get ourselves a nice university before we even finished building the one that we were building before. That being said, we're gonna redo our queue here. We want to get those gold mines established ASAP. Holy mother of God, dude. Finally, we got National Guard. It took them only 1 trillion freaking years. Now, I'm gonna go for proportional taxation next because the revenue change is freaking huge. And since we do start with land-based taxation, it's honestly better to just skip over per capita. Proportional is the one you want to go for because it starts giving you dividends tax rate, and it is a big one too. Looks like Britain also is too busy with the Qing and French war. They're fighting French people in Qing, historical by the way. So I'm gonna take advantage of that, and because they canceled their guarantee on Transvaal, it's gonna be called Portuguese Vol now. Yeah, we really probably should work a little bit on that name, shouldn't we? Oh, Spain is offering us military assistance. Yes please. Holy cannoli, Batman. We actually have an economy now. Oh, this is so good. This is actually a massive landmark for us, getting proportional taxation so early. Let's go ahead and attempt to get laissez-faire. If we get this, laissez-faire together with proportional taxation literally allows your economy to skyrocket. I mean, seriously, look at that. We're getting 67,000 in national revenue right now, up from like, what was it, 15,000 we started the campaign with. Okay, and we're about to completely get control of most of Yemen. We will still have to get a little strip of Yemen from Hejaz eventually. Okay, well, our law just failed. Why is that? Did my market liberal died? My market liberal died as soon as I freaking started enacting laissez-faire. If that is not bad luck, I don't know what is, dude. That is actually crazy. Let's go ahead and go for landed voting. That's gonna appease quite a few of our rebels, actually. Things have improved so massively that we actually are starting to get migrants for the first time ever, apparently. Hell, we're even paying our government employees now proper wages. And we can use the new production method to get some actual bureaucracy, which in turn means we're gonna be able to get level 2 education and even level 2 home affairs. For some reason, South Peru decided they want to have a bit of a brain aneurysm because they are helping the Argentinians in my war, in which I'm going to lower the autonomy of the Argentinians, whether they like it or not. So that means South Peru essentially wants to also become a part of my vassal swarm. All right, let's go to Strombolucci. Gonna do a quick cheeky naval invasion into South Peru whilst they have most of their army tied up fighting against me in Uruguay. Oh, they cut on to us. They managed to bring back their units from the Uruguay in front, but it's too late. It's too late, South Peru. You asked for this. 1 for the money and a 2 for the show in a few moments. Loading. Just give it a few seconds here. Of course, 97% succession. Is there any video I've got in which I didn't go with 90+% for a legislation before it actually passed? Like, I'm genuinely curious now. What is up with that? Why can't I not just get easy legislations that pass at 7% like other people, huh? Oh, in any case, look at how beautiful South America is looking. Way more colorful. The best part is that we just used 8 infamy, but that means we have a puppet that is still losing liberty desire. So when it reaches low liberty desire, we can just annex it for basically nothing. Why is everyone so much against me, bro? I'm just trying to take back my rightful Chilean claims, and Paraguay is all like, no, bro, you cannot just go around taking nations like that. Why not, Paraguay? What is your problem? Why must you be such a bully to me, huh? Well, you know what? You know what? We're gonna be a nice guy, okay? We're gonna be a nice guy, and look at this. Look at what we're doing in your country, Paraguay. We are gonna be improving it, okay? Slowly but surely, they shall all fall to the power of the true ring. Hot twist, it was a cock ring all along. But nobody talks about that, do they now? At least it would have been one if Rings of Power filmed The Lord of the Rings, you know what I mean? All right, now we got literally all of South America. And we also have a pretty decent economy, so we can start snowballing economically too, not just expansion-wise. And of course, it's time to reclaim our old colony of Brazil. We cannot have all of South America without having Brazil, and getting it now is cheaper. Only 39 infamy to grab Brazil is honestly a no-brainer. Let's also call in the British so we actually win this war, and our ally, the Spanish, to make it easy to win this war. We're basically letting everybody here on our side win this for us. We're just gonna keep our units on defend the front line so we don't lose that many troops, and we'll let the British use up all of their juicy boyos there. And why the freaking Americans have to join in this war? Like, why do they always have to get involved in South America? I hate them, bro. They're so annoying sometimes. Let's embargo the Ottomans so we do another one of our lobby. That means our lobby is happier with us now. And let's wait for the Americans to give up. Once they lose enough units, they will just peace out because they don't actually have any stake in this, right? Right? Yeah, they don't. Okay, so they don't have any war goals of their own. That means that they will be more likely to peace out. I also need to get my conscripts for this war because it's going to be a pretty big one. I did not expect the Americans to join in. Otherwise, I would have gotten the conscripts earlier. Look at the amount of diversity in our front here. We got Chileans, we got Brits, we got Paraguayans, Cubans, Spaniards, West Indians, everything, man. This is the United Nations, guys. The really awesome part about having so many colonies is also that we can just build our stuff in the colonies, and the people working in the colonies are so much cheaper. It really allows for us to develop an industry off of the backs of these Africans and South Americans without really needing to worry about actually paying them too much. Exactly what I was saying earlier. Eventually, the Americans will give up once they just lost enough battles. Now we can start pushing in together with our allies and speed up this process of taking over our former colony. Hi ho, I don't know the lyrics, but you're a hoe. Da 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 da. Hi ho, Brazil's ours. It all comes together. The song, the game, the love for humanity, and the fact that former colonies have been reclaimed by their real masters. It's I guess you could say it's a perfect world, really. Advanced by 1 phase? Yes, please. Thank you. I wish that was an option more when it comes to legislation. And look at that. We single-handedly destroyed Brazil. We did this all by ourselves. It was our units completely crushing Brazil. Only us. Only not a little bit of help from anyone else. Clearly, we're just honestly the bestest of bestest. Now, is there any achievement for me for having having gotten Brazil back? That's the real question here. Because we are playing as Portugal, and we should have an achievement for that, I hope. We don't. We have a freaking Gandhi achievement, bro. Really? No, man. I feel like Paradox should add an achievement for reconquering your colonies as both Spain and Portugal, in my opinion. Oh, man, we're getting so much money. We really can start properly developing our nation now and getting a lot more construction sectors for that matter. Also, 53 infamy is not bad. Once we get this a little bit lower, we can attack Bolivia and what's left in South America, I guess. The issue with building in the colonies, though, is that you're going to struggle to get people with qualifications. So in order to make Zanzibar work for us, we do need to get a university in here as well, which is why we queued up one already. Those universities are going to be the way you get your qualifications in Africa. I know I said I'm going to chill, but it's literally 10 infamy to get Bolivia. Come on, we have to, guys. We actually have to. Yay! Yay! Public schools, boys. And Bulgarians. We got Bulgarians. The game is over. We won. We got Bulgarians coming to our country. That is it. That's literally all we ever wanted. And we also are going to be puppeting in this war Ecuador, which has come to the rescue of Bolivia. So that rescue is going to turn into an actual freaking bloodbath, because we're going to do what we did to South Peru earlier. Do a cheeky naval invasion whilst their units are fighting in the Bolivian front. Holy shit, that's fast. Okay, I did not expect that we're going to win against Bolivia that freaking fast, but sure. I mean, okay, we're winning faster than we even got the notification for the war against Bolivia. Let that freaking sink in for a second, boyos. Also, the fact that we called in the Spaniards is the next level tech moment, because, you know, technically the Spaniards fighting on our side is, you know, weird, seeing as these are former Spaniard colonies that we're taking right now, right? You would imagine they would not agree to joining in our wars when we're literally taking Spanish lands, technically, okay? Come on. Oh my god, 120,000. Let's go, baby. Let's go, man. The more construction sectors we get, the more money we're making. It's ridiculous, bro. And it also looks like we can change to wealth voting now, meaning all the wealthy people get all the votes, eh? It's like in modern day. Excuse me, what the fuck, Peru? Did you just eat my vassal of South Peru? That should not be allowed. You know what? Screw you, buddy. Screw you, buddy. I was gonna let you live. Okay, no, it wasn't. I was gonna let you live, but now that you did this, I'm gonna have to invade you. You son of a schnitzel, you. No way, Peru, back down. We just need a tiny bit, a fraction bit less of infamy, okay? Because I really don't want all of them to start getting disloyal because we got too much infamy, right? We are going to be getting this influence now, so we speed up the process of lowering the infamy. Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, natural enemies, clearly natural enemies of the Portuguese people. You know, it's pretty funny that we actually got all of this stuff with just 3 actual incorporated states. That is just wild to me. If you enjoyed this run and you want to see more like these, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to get notified whenever I release more videos like these in the future. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.